Welcome back, everyone. This is Super Kelly Brothers Podcast, episode 149 for the 5th of December 2021. My name's Sloan Kelly.
My name's Jody Kelly.
Can't believe it's December, man. This is starting to get a bit unreal.
We were out gardening. Skies were blue.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, we were out gardening. Well,
Today?
I say gardening.
Wait, today?
I lifted up some random poo that was like, in my garden. And
right, for once this is your fault that we're dropping viewers.
Then
they started talking about poop.
Yeah, we've got a wee central kind of bit in the garden that I dug out so we could put wildflowers in.
So you could poop in it?
No, but it ended up just being weeds. So I took out all the weeds, put a net over it, right? Not a person called a net.
Those are technically wildflowers.
No. Anyway, the wildflowers didn't grow. It was just weeds.
They grew like
so
weeds.
I pulled out all the weeds
and
I put a net over it. And some animal pooed on the net.
Oh. Like,
who poos in the net?
Animal, not human animal, you hope. Were you sitting there with an old toothbrush?
No, it was a wee poo. It was like I don't know.
Like a rabbit or something?
I don't know. No, I don't know. I didn't take photographs. We posted it on the Facebook page.
Here's a question for you. Talking of talking of tracking animals from their poo, do squirrels hibernate? Yes or no?
That's a trick question.
No, it's not a trick question. It may be a QI type question. Yes, we're on the letter S, obviously. For those of you playing at home.
No, but I do know that they swim on their backs to keep their nuts dry.
Is the correct answer. Yes, they don't hibernate. But they're terrible at hiding nuts. What they do is they hide nuts and then they forget where they hide them.
Is that right?
Yeah. So they're always like darting about in the middle of winter.
Is that why they're darting about like crazy?
Yeah, because they're like, where the hell did I put these things? I think that's probably where they got the idea from. Scrat. Talking of
Where's my nuts?
Where's my nuts? Yeah, the wee rat thing, the proto squirrel thing in Ice Age.
Ice Age.
Yeah, he's always looking for his nut. Well, just his nut. Yeah,
fascinating fact.
It's an
acorn, actually. It's an acorn.
Oh, it is an acorn. You're right, which means that there's oak trees, but I don't think we've had oak trees for that long.
You can't eat it. You can't eat an acorn, can you?
Well, he's a bit thick, though.
Right.
He's a proto squirrel, so he's a bit thick.
God, what does that make me then? I've just asked that question. Shit.
Anyway, we were not gardening today, but we were putting out the decorations. So we got the lights out, and the lights out. We got the lights up. Yeah. So we got all that done, which is very exciting. And of course, I really should create a diagram of the wiring that I have to do to get the lighting all done, because we only have certain. It's like, honestly, it's like a mathematical problem, because there's only so many
Chevy Chase vibes here from you.
Yeah, but you got to like chain them in a particular order, because some of the lines don't, like, they have two different sets of plugs in North America. They've got ones with like, it's like a kind of fat end one, and then there's one with just two thin prongs, and some of them don't line up, so you can't get them physically to connect. So it's a bit of an issue. I could go out and buy new lights, but I mean, those ones work, so why do that?
Yeah.
So we're stuck with these older lights that just have the sort of single prong rather than the single size prong rather than the
hemorrhaging listeners here. Describing the prongs and plugs.
Anyway,
Jesus Christ.
What I did. No, it's very important. Honestly, our North American listeners will be like, oh yeah, you're right, yeah. And we have quite a few North American listeners to the podcast anyway. But what I did get though is I got this little guy. I don't know if you can see. I'll just post him up. I don't actually have a. I don't know if I can share him.
Poor podcasters can't hear this. See this fella.
It's an inflatable Grogu. I was going to say Rogu. It's not
holding a candy stick.
Rogu. And it's very cute. And he blows up when the power goes in him, as most people would do.
As in, it doesn't explode.
He inflates. Yes, he inflates. He's got a little fan in the back. I didn't know I didn't know how these things worked before, because I've never had one of those inflatable things. But they're just it's just a fan that goes on the whole time. I thought it would be like a fan that would go on, and then it would like somehow like seal it, and then when it pictured it was deflating itself, it would just start up again. Of course, that's like the most expensive ones.
But that's like a bouncy castle. The bouncy castle, the fans on all the time.
Oh, really?
Yep, all the time.
Huh.
When I think I've told you this story before, but when I worked in air, down the front in air.
I wonder how many people make it past the 5-minute mark in our podcast.
Oh, I know. What have they signed up for? During the wall? No, back when I was. What
I used to do was I used to store the heavy items on the floor, and then the lighter ones on the shelves as they got up. And by the time it was up the top, it was just like bits of paper.
You've got 3-pronged plugs, you say? Well, you've got 2-pronged plugs.
2-pronged plugs.
They've
got little holes in them.
Yeah. Anyway, so back in the day when I was working down the front at the kind of fun park.
To be fair, it wasn't the front as in a war front. It was the front as in the beach front.
Yeah. And they had a bouncy castle. And for a laugh, we crawled. We took the blower off, and we crawled because there's two openings, and we raced round inside the bouncy castle to get from one right round the perimeter of it inside the base of the castle to the other exit.
Really?
As it deflated. How dangerous was that?
Okay. That is quite. That feels like that's a suffocation thing. Like there's obviously quite a lot of weight in a bouncy castle because they're like
you could
thick bits of plastic.
You don't really think about it when you're like 18 or whatever. But yeah we could have.
And a lot of fit.
Easily died.
I wouldn't have gone in there because of extreme claustrophobia. Maybe
that's why now. Actually,
yeah, maybe.
Come to think of it. Anyway,
I can't even think about the parachute game. Oof. Anyway,
Jesus, that's killed 8 minutes.
If you're still with us.
And a few listeners. It's about like Airplane the movie, isn't it? The start, the old lady sitting next to the what do you call him? Striker.
Ted Striker.
It's like tying a noose around his neck. Oh God! I feel sorry for him just listening to this. To apologise on behalf of myself and my brother.
True, yeah. Do you know your lamp?
God, James isn't here.
Your lamp looks like it's a balloon. It looks
like a balloon. I just realised it's in shot. It's not meant to be.
It looks like a balloon from the bottom. It looks like you're about to talk about Richard Branson.
Damn it!
Move you out of the
shot.
Is
that subtle?
That's pretty subtle, right? That's it. It's out of shot.
I don't think MD noticed. Actually,
I don't think it is. I think it was very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we?
For God's sake, yes.
Shall we?
Yes.
Well, the good news is there's very little news. But what we have, we can share. Let's talk about this one. This is one that we were talking about just before we came on air, so to speak. Before we started talking about air. So Disney Plus has removed 2 movies from its MCU library. And the 2 movies are Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four so Rise of the Silver Surfer, which arguably is the better of the 2.
I think so. I like both, actually, though. I think they're good, both two good films.
The question, of course, is why? Why have they removed these? And there's very little answer. there was one that you saw. There was a quote that you saw, but the one that we've got here is,
Well, they
according
basically
to
went, before you say that, they basically went to Peacock, which we've discovered.
yeah. So
Because
they're also
sorry.
still available on Peacock, though. So they've
Yeah.
clearly been on Peacock.
Right.
So they're still on there for some whatever historic reason behind that. But for some reason, Disney Plus has removed them from the streaming from Disney Plus, which is bizarre. It doesn't seem.
But they've kept the what do you call him? Josh Trank.
The remake ones, yeah.
Fantastic Four. They've kept that one on.
Yeah.
Which which is it's not directly an MCU, is it?
Mm-mm. None of these
Not
are.
yet. Not yet.
No, none of these
But they're
are.
going. But they're going to kind of reboot them for the MCU, aren't they?
I think it'll be the
I
same
believe.
thing with X-Men as well. Is they're going to reboot the X-Men for the MCU?
Yes, that's right.
And then my hope, and we've talked about this. We have a podcast. We also do a reaction video for Hawkeye. My hope is that we get to see Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio appear in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
But I did notice in the IMDb listing, I know we keep doing this, but now we're talking about Hawkeye instead of Fantastic Four. I did notice in the IMDb listing that Florence Pugh is mentioned in all 6 episodes as a guest star.
Well, it's at the end of Black Widow, though. It's heavily hinted that she's going to come as the protagonist.
Yeah, antagonist.
Antagonist, sorry.
But right now, that seems to be the tracksuit mafia. That's the antagonist.
Yeah, which is crap. You know, that's my only gripe about that show.
You mad, bro?
You know. Yeah, and I think if the Florence Pugh character comes in, you know, Black Widow's sister, comes into it again up against Hawkeye, that'll be Hawkeye the New, right enough.
Hawkeye. Yeah.
I'll bet for that. Yeah, it's not like us to go into a completely different subject.
I know, and then somehow bring it back. But yeah, I mean, the way we can bring it back is that both of those series or both of those characters are based in New York, as quite a lot of Marvel characters are based in New York. I'm not going to go through them all because at some point somebody's going like, actually, you missed out, and I go, I know. It's because I'm not a big Marvel fan. I'm an MCU fan, but I'm not particularly. Not that I don't like Marvel comics, but I don't know them. I don't know them as much as anyone else knows them.
Oh, you're not like a big comics, you mean?
No, well, when I was growing in my teenage years, I was all about the Batman.
Aye, that's right. That's true.
That was my big comic book thing, was Batman.
And then you used to buy them, and I used to just nick them off you and eat them secretly. In fact,
did you not have the killing joke on your bass at one point?
I did. Yeah, when Sloan and I used to be in a band, and
that'll segue nicely into part 2.
you had the Killing Joke comic, and I somehow got sticky clear plastic.
That's so right. Yeah.
I painted the back of the plastic and I traced the
you traced
from Killing Joke. And stuck it on. It's dead boring. But anyway.
But it was on your base for a long time.
Still is. I've got it. Still got it.
Oh, still got it. Oh wow. Okay.
Still got it. Yep.
Wow. There you go.
Still works. Yep.
Cool. So yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're just getting rid of it because they're completely distancing themselves from these versions of the Fantastic Four. It kind of makes sense because Johnny Storm, of course, became Captain America.
Yeah.
which is not a good continuity. But
yeah. But you would think if they're gearing up for the new Fantastic Four for the MCU, you'd think they would get rid of all three Fantastic Four off.
yeah,
Or why would they get? I don't know. I don't know why they would do it. I mean, they said it was like a sort of Fox thing before Disney Plus was a thing, and it was a Fox owned thing, wasn't it?
yeah.
So it was before Fox owned Disney. Sorry,
No,
before
Disney
Disney
owned
owned Fox.
Yeah,
Um, it was an agreement or
which
something,
I think is it not
which doesn't
just
make sense either.
20th Century Studios now? They dumped the whole Fox name.
Mm. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Here's a question I've got for you. So, and this is going to segue quite nicely into this. We're talking about 20th Century Fox. 20th Century Fox, of course, has the world famous fanfare that John Williams famously redid for the start of Star Wars, and I think he added a. He
Wait
added
a
that
minute.
bit.
Did John Williams do that?
He redid it. He got the London Philharmonic to redo it.
Did he? Didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's his fanfare they use at the start. It's not he didn't write it, but he conducted it. I'm sure that's
Right.
the story that they've been doing. Anyway, so they've been using that one for years. But I think he did write the. I think he did that. But anyway, whatever it is, was that at the start of Rise of Skywalker? Because I don't remember.
No,
Oh, okay.
no, the 20th
Okay.
Century Fox. No.
Yeah.
No.
So the reason why I ask is because you have something else to share.
You're smooth. You're smooth.
So this is
I just realised what you did there.
this is a graphic novel version of what's his name? It's not Corey Trevorrow. Tim Trevorrow? What's his name? Colin
Colin.
Trevorrow.
Aye. Yeah.
And
Basically, he was set to do the episode 9, and he had a script. And the script leaked, and people read the script, and a fan got his hands on the script somehow.
Nice.
And he basically has created this fan graphic novel of what could have been the movie, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I've not read it all yet, but I've read a couple of bits at the beginning, kind of thing, and I've heard things about it, what could have been type thing, and the fact that it's done in a graphic novel style, it makes it more tangible, as a, as what the movie could have been. It's a what if, effectively,
Yeah.
But it's free. It's totally free. We should put the link, actually.
Should do, yeah. I'll remember. I'll put it in a Facebook group. The link is just up there, the top left.
Yeah.
It's you basically go to facebook.com/superkelly Bros, and then you can access.
Yeah, it's totally free. I mean, it's kind of a little bit crudely drawn, I suppose, and stuff, but
it reminds me of the
70s
cheap comic books.
Yeah, but it still gives you the idea of what it could have been,
Yeah.
And I don't think he's worked from. I'm not sure how much he's looked at, because there was images leaked. Remember, for this, it was quite heavily leaked at the time. The Colin Trevorrow treatment for episode 9, and I'm not sure if he's taken some of the artwork from that.
Yeah.
He's obviously had to make up a lot of his own stuff as well.
So do you know the gist of it, the plot outline of the Trevorrow version?
No, all I know is that it's heavily different to the Rise of Skywalker.
As in
that's
better,
all I know.
Or
better? Yeah, folk are saying it's better. Yeah, it's heavier. and it takes into consideration both movies, as opposed to JJ going, no, that's not my version. Let me steer you back to the Force Awakens version of. It actually took into consideration both, so it didn't diss the Rose character. It didn't but it was, the only thing about it was apparently it's very Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher heavy. So I think that's why they maybe
had to rewrite it a bit.
Had to ditch it. It's very heavy. It's very much her story, I think. So maybe that's the reason.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not.
But still, it's still an interesting thing to see. To see that what could have been type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because that last movie, man, I don't know. It just I know we've talked about this to the death, but it was not a worthy end to a 42-year-long journey. It was not satisfying in the slightest. And in fact, I know I talk about that line about the past burn thing, but in a way, yes, but also in a very real sense, no. let's celebrate what's happened before. I mean, we don't need to. We don't need to.
Do you know what I didn't realize? I didn't realize that they fly now. They fly now.
Oh, they fly now.
Which everybody kind of moaned about was because they've already had flying stormtroopers in Clone Wars type thing. So it was like a kind of as if JJ didn't understand the material.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could argue. I mean, folks say that, but you could argue that the fact that Poe and Finn hadn't seen flying stormtroopers, so
I mean, it was.
I don't think it's that big a deal, really.
25 years before their time, or whatever.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah. So
no, in fact, longer.
40
years before. Sorry, more than 40 years before their time, because the whole saga is in real time.
Aye.
So I mean, it's 40 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's that could be lost.
Right, I'm going to make a proposal.
Okay. So we never talk about this again.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Uh-huh.
What if they redid all 9 episodes as a Game of Thrones-esque TV series that spans across 7 series or 6 series? So
six
series,
like seven.
So the first movie is 6 series. So the first movie is like
movies.
over 2. Wait a minute here. Right.
We need to be 9 seasons.
9 movies. Yeah, okay. Each movie's got a series. Then each movie's got a season. Then, right? So that they can fill stuff out, right? They can explain things better, why they were done. They could fix things. How, like for instance, in episode 3, how quickly Anakin, turned to the dark side.
Yeah.
Within like
a nanosecond.
Half an hour of the last movie. But
it was basically it was the equivalent of in Scotland. Take a drink, come on, take a drink.
Aye, basically. But they could really kind of tease that out and have them seduced to the dark side over a long period.
Yeah. Over
like 8 or 9 episodes, So each movie could be remade, and you could really, really get into the nitty gritty of the Force, and what do you reckon?
Yes, with one caveat: the first movie, they have to figure a better way to get him from being a kid to being a teenager.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the whole pod race thing.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the whole thing.
The other thing as well is we can't use the M word.
But that's what I'm saying. They could remake the whole thing, right? And make him maybe you could show the kid's darker side. Well, it's already there. There's something already there,
Yeah.
And because it's a TV series, you could really make that. You could really develop that. Really deep, so that by the time you're into episode 2, you're like, I'm not sure about this little kid. You're like, you've got your doubts.
There's also another big problem is the fact that the Force is kind of in balance as well, because they don't really mention it out of balance. It's not until much later when Mace Windu, as a more Force sensitive being, sort of says, I can't remember what it is it exactly says, but it's along the lines of like, there's a darkness or something, we can't see things. And like, there's no play on that. It's just this throwaway one line thing. It needs to be a, like, we don't know it needs to be more like there's a black void and we can't see beyond that. There needs to be more things like that kind of build, like the winter is coming type stuff.
You could really build in all that stuff, if it was a TV series.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to pitch it to Disney and see how it got on. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Mr. Lucas will be out and see you in a second.
Yeah. I feel like it'll be a Rupert Pupkin moment. I'm sitting there in my...
He said wait in the living room. He said, and that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that's such a good movie.
I'll just wait here then.
That is such a good movie. Can I get the name of the person you're looking for? Moff Tarkin. Sorry, who did you say? Moff Tarkin.
It's so
That'd
good.
Be great. Yeah. Oh, and Shimmy could be in the shouting from the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Are you playing your robots again? Mom, I'm playing with my robots.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, you could have every movie has 9 episodes or 8 episodes. Really not explain, but really kind of get in deep into the mythology of it and stuff.
If you're looking for stuff like that, why don't you watch Foundation?
I'd be up for that. That's what I mean. That's kind of, it's like the likes of Dune and Foundation and things like that. I started to think.
So Foundation,
Star Wars kind of did that,
So Foundation is a good name because it is pretty much the foundation of every one of these. Like Foundation is the thing that started it. It's the Mac Daddy, the original one that gave us Dune, and then Dune gave us Star Wars and so on. And to go back and watch it, I'm going to go back and rewatch Foundation. I loved every moment of it, the first season.
I need to rewatch.
It's so good. It just ticked all the boxes for me.
I got so far, but then I was getting a bit confused. So.
And then in the end, nothing really mattered.
Yeah. As Metallica would say.
Is, yeah. Did you catch the I can't show the trailer, but they're now, but again, sticking with MCU. I know we did a brief detour into Star Wars there, but Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, the trailer for that dropped.
Mm-hmm.
With Spider-Gwen appeared in Miles Morales' dorm room, I think it is, because he's at college now. And she's like, what's happening? And he's like, I'm grounded. And she goes, is Spider-Man grounded?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I want to see this movie. Like, the first movie was fantastic.
Oh, it was brilliant.
I can't wait to see this one. So that was the original multiverse movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because Spider-Man and the Multiverse of Madness, not Multiverse of Madness, what was it called? Then Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Because I think it's in my multiverses. There's Doctor Who's multiverse now.
Doctor Strange.
And the trailer for that got released as well. There was an introduction from Tom Holland, and you saw a clearer look of Green Goblin in it.
Oh no, you're talking about Spider-Man, not the
Spider-Man.
not the Doctor Strange sequel.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
The No Way Home.
Aye.
Which is the end of the. Which is, they're calling it the Home trilogy, according to the Tom Holland bit before camera that he did.
There's also a on YouTube. There's a interview with Molina. What do you call him? Albert Molina, is it?
Alfred
Molina. And Green Goblin guy, what's his name?
Willem Dafoe.
And Jamie Foxx.
Wait, was Thomas Hayden Church not there?
No, he's not. But he does appear as Sandman in the trailer.
He does.
But,
I really liked him. I loved his portrayal of Sandman.
That was probably the best part of the third Tobey Maguire, definitely. Yeah, it definitely was. In fact, I thought Venom was great as well.
Venom was good as well. That was the Topher Grace version of Eddie.
Yeah, it was just Spider-Man that wasn't good in a Spider-Man film. Yeah, particularly Sandman. I think it's a great character.
Yeah,
I really like that character.
Yeah, he did a great
job. I like
the
fact that all the villains are quite kind of, you're kind of sympathetic toward them. And you're kind of.
Because I think this is them. This is Doctor Strange is trying to Doctor Strange is trying to get them home. The villains. He's like, they can't stay here because they're problematic, and so I think that's where the title comes from. Is the No Way Home? Is that he's in here? But I saw something on the new Rockstars YouTube channel. I didn't watch it, but I'll watch it. But I haven't watched it yet. And they were saying that will Spider-Man end up in an alternative reality after No Way Home?
Yeah.
Like, could that be the thing? Is like No Way Home has got a double meaning, as in he can't get these people home, and then all of a sudden, because of his actions, he ends up with no way to get home. Which is that's kind of how they ended up Ant-Man as well.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up
No Way Home. And also, I wonder if we're going to get Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
I think that's the big kind of ta-da moment.
Yeah, I think we will get that.
Yeah, because there's a bit in it. There's a fight scene where I'm sure it's
Lizard.
What's his name? Electro. What the hell's that? The Sparky guy is called Electron. Electro. He's like bearing down on something. There's nothing there. So it feels like there's something erased.
Yeah, the Lizard's in it as well. Is it Reese Evans?
Yeah. Reese Evans.
I'm sure I saw that character in the.
Yeah, he was he was in the Andrew Garfield one, wasn't he?
Yeah, I like those ones.
In fact, is he not the one that he ends up killing Dennis Leary?
Spoilers
if you haven't seen a 10-year-old movie.
Yeah, the end of the first one.
Yeah. It's like a big KBBY or whatever it is tower thing, and he gets he's like, "Let's save you."
Then Emma Stone gets killed in the second one. Just if you want to do
what
spoilers.
What? I think we've done too many spoilers tonight. We've just ruined it for everyone. Ruined it. We have. Not now. Don't restart. Shall we move on to what did you watch?
Yes.
Then I'll roll VT. So we'll obviously talk about the major thing that we both watched.
Yeah.
But so just talk around the other things that you watched, and then we'll get together. Okay. We'll come together and talk about the other thing.
You're on fire.
Huh?
You're on fire. Well,
it'll just be the two of us.
Good Lord. Right. The big one I watched was actually last week. Was Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Ghostbusters. For all you C64 aficionados out there.
Which was a joyous wee movie. Fantastic. Everything you hoped it would be. Paul Rudd's in it as well, which is a bonus.
Yep.
I think everybody knows now the original cast are in it as well.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I know they are.
Well, they get into
they've been interviewed by everybody from Jimmy Kimmel to Jimmy Fallon.
So I always get those two mixed up. It was great. It was brilliant. You know, I think it maybe did. I know James had said it's got the same kind of beats as the original movie, but I'm not quite sure it does. But it's got the same kind of. It's got a really nice feeling, and it is kind of creepy as well.
Oh, is it?
Jump scary? Yeah. So you know, you didn't get that from the female led version. I don't think it felt creepy at all.
No. Did it do any beyond the frame effects in it?
No, it wasn't like a 3D thing. No.
Well, the other one wasn't. Well, I mean, it was 3D, but the showing was it 3D we saw?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
The female one. That was the thing about the female one. That the 3D was fantastic because they went beyond the frame of the. Yeah. So it looked even. It made it even.
Great. Like I don't know why they didn't do that in the other ones, because it really kind of like makes you go, whoa.
It really pops. Yeah. No, they didn't do that with this. I saw Friday night movie was John Wick 2, I'm afraid. Danny.
Why are you doing this? This poor kid.
Such a bad job. We were watching things like that when we were 10. Come on.
Oh, I know.
And he's,
I mean, it's
perfectly capable of watching things, you know. So
I mean, it's I don't know. I wouldn't say it's cartoon violence, but it's.
Yeah, I didn't. I tell you what, though, right? I did let him watch that, but I didn't let him watch that Kate. You seen that Kate with Woody Harrelson and Ewan McGregor's Mrs. The Ellen Ripley of.
You know what? There was another movie that came out almost exactly the same time, and I saw that one, and I didn't see that one. I didn't see the Kate one. The one I saw was with Kate Beckinsale.
Okay.
What the hell was that called? It was not good.
Well, I'd say Kate is good. I liked it. Set in Japan. Quite comic book graphic novel-y. I mean, some of the scenes in it are just the way they're filmed are just incredible. There's a car chase sequence, as I said last week when we were watching the Hawkeye episode, and I thought to myself, God, I've not seen a car chase as exciting as that for a long time.
Since
and then I saw Kate, and then I saw Hawkeye, and I thought, God, that's 2 in a row, you know, in 1 week.
Do you know it was one of the most expensive car chases ever filmed?
French Connection?
No.
What?
Blues Brothers.
Ah, you're right. I'm going to have to take a break.
Oh, right. Let's do that. Wait a second. Hold on. I need to. Okay, there you go. Sorry, you were saying.
Kate.
Yes.
Yeah. Really enjoyable. Very violent though, and I thought I'll watch it first and see if it's suitable for Danny, because he likes a action thing, but much more violent and quite graphic compared to John Wick.
Yeah,
John Wick is violent, but not as graphic.
Not quite as graphic. Yeah.
Kate's got it's like daggers like right through the person's mouth and all that.
It really hurts.
Yeah, a bit like that. So,
if you know what movie that's from, leave a comment below.
That was so very quick.
To be fair, I do watch Hot Fuzz about every week, so.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well,
damn it!
I think people might have recognised the way you said it. Anyway.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on a how we like a wee investigation kind of Netflix thing. Dig Deeper. German documentary.
The German one. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Only 4 parts.
It's good.
Kind of intriguing. I think it probably could be 2 parts, but
felt as if there's going to be quite a lot of drone shots in it. No.
No. I think there maybe is a few, but I think I'm immune to them now. I just.
It's not making a murderer type. Every second shot was a drone shot.
No, not quite. And we have been playing Alien Isolation.
Very nice.
Which is an oldie.
An oldie, but a goodie.
Pass. Yep. And I was like, let's download that. And
I would not be playing that.
Oh man, that is creepy. Honestly, it gets too tense. Tense. No. I was like, let's switch this off.
No. Imagine that in VR.
No. That's what I said to Danny. I was like, no.
No, there's no way I'd be playing that in VR. No. There's no way I'd be playing it. Full stop. No. And then VR would be like, no, what are you nuts? It's not. No, it's not happening.
Nah, I had to switch it off. And I think is that it's not a PS4. Is it a PS3 gen game?
I don't know actually. I think it might be PS4.
Was it
PS4?
Graphics are
quite a long time.
Yeah. Well, okay. It must be because the graphics are really pretty good on it, and it's really pretty good. And
it came out on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and it came out on 7th of October 2014. So it's 7 years old. What?
It's impressive looking.
That is crazy.
Very impressive looking.
It's a big old nope from me.
What's that?
It's a big old nope from me. There's no way I'd play that. No. I'd end up just going and just never play
it. I could never play it. I mean, it was bad enough playing it just on the computer, but no way would I play that in a VR.
As soon as you hear the from behind, that'd be it. You'd be snapping the VR headset and throwing it at the wall.
Nothing's even happened yet, by the way.
Oh, really?
Nothing's happened yet. And we're like, it's so dark. And it's like, you need to crawl into it. You're like, God, I don't want to.
No.
Into a kind of ventilation shaft or something. You're like, I don't want to.
No.
Literally nothing's happened. And we're like, bricking ourselves. So that's on the shelf at the moment.
Yeah.
But very, very good. Very atmospheric. Brilliant.
Yeah. I've been playing Star Wars Heroes on the iPad. It's very enjoyable, very kind of JRPG type. It's just battles. That's all it is. It's just you set up your squad and then you go battle the baddies, and that's it.
Right.
There's no premise, there's no nothing, and it's one of those. I don't want to say pay to play games, but there's definitely it throws up quite a lot of like, hey, you should get notifications from this game. Do you want to set up notifications? It's like no.
Right.
It's like, do you want to watch this video for these? Well, I don't know if it's got that one, but it's got like, pay $6.99, you can get this pack. Nope. So there's a lot of kind of ads get thrown up, but it's still enjoyable though. I'm really enjoying it. I played it for like 6 hours yesterday. It's really good.
Yeah.
Managed to unlock the dark side people. So I was quite happy with that. Movie wise, last week we watched. I'd never seen it before. We watched Tangled, which is Disney.
Sorry, I forgot. I forgot another big one. Sorry. I'll do it. I'll do it at the end.
No, it's okay. You go.
No, it was I skipped it because I thought I can't do 2 big ones in a row. The Last Duel, Ridley Scott's new movie. It's on Disney Plus.
Not over here. It's not.
Really?
That's the last DUEL.
Wow, we're getting stuff and you're not.
I mean, it does happen quite a bit. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you guys get that we don't get. There's the one with Matt Damon.
Yeah. Adam Driver, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jodie Comer.
Wait, hold on a minute. Matt Damon. Wait, what? Matt Damon wrote the screenplay for this?
What? Well, that makes sense.
Based on
right.
Just screenplay
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, screenplay by Nicole Holofenser, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Mm-hmm. Well, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote Good Will Hunting, didn't they?
They did. Yep.
And
they were also in Dogma as well.
Big friends with your man.
Yep. Kevin Smith.
Yep. Anyway, it was quite good. Quite good, I would say.
It was quite good. Praise indeed.
Yeah. Here you go.
Okay. We watched Tangled. Tangled is a movie I've never seen before. So
you've never seen it?
No, never seen it. I've not seen a lot of Disney movies, to be honest.
Right.
I love the theme parks, but movies. I've seen classics. Do you know? I've never seen The Lion King. None of the editions of it.
Really?
No.
I've seen the cartoon.
I've seen bits of it. I've seen up to the bit where he says "Long live the king" and stamps in his hand, and he kind of falls and he gets trampled by the antelope, whatever they are. But I've never seen it all. I've never seen all of Jungle Book, Jodie, and I've never seen all of Peter Pan. Still, I refuse point blank to watch these movies.
No, that's your fault.
Although I have seen, I did see the Universal Studios Peter Pan, which the soundtrack for is so good, in fact, that Disney World uses the soundtrack in the parks, because I've heard it being played. Anyway, it was all right. Yeah, Tangled, it's okay. Story of Rapunzel.
For me, Tangled is better than Frozen.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, it's much better than that.
The horse is hilarious.
Yeah, Max is fantastic. Is the hunting horse.
Yeah, I just find it really an enjoyable film. Like Moana to me is much better than Frozen as well. 1,000,000,000%. I've seen Moana about 3 or 4 times now. It's a great movie. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Like the songs in it are so catchy. But then again, it's Manuel Miranda.
Yeah,
a bit tongue-tied there, but yeah, well, not all of them, but yeah, Jermaine Clemens is in it as well. He does Shiny, and he's best David Bowie person.
Yeah. Tangled and Moana for me are the classics. Frozen's, I don't know, I don't get it. It's good, but it's not as good as them. It doesn't tick the boxes for me.
Yeah. Here's a movie that you should not let Danny see. Movie 43.
Right.
Have you not heard of this movie?
I think I have heard of it.
So I watched it about, I don't know, 5-6 years ago or whenever it came out. Anyway, I watched it and I thought, okay, it's kind of funny. It's not.
Has it got lots of stars in it?
Yes. It starts off with Kate Winslet and Hugh Jackman. Stephen Merchant's in it. He's alongside Halle Berry. Richard Gere's in it. Dennis Quaid is in it.
Yeah, I do know
just
it.
a whole bunch of stars. It's very crude, but it's not Sausage Party crude. I don't know how to explain it. Like Sausage Party for me just wasn't funny. This you'll get. At least I did get a few belly laughs out of it. It is completely not politically correct, and I've no idea how the heck they got this past anyone of any authority in any film studio, but they managed to do it.
What's it on?
Prime, I think we watched it on.
Aye.
Yeah. It might. Do you know what? It might be an MGM movie, which is why they've got it. Although I've got a funny feeling it might be. It's get 2 stars on IMDb. Make of that as you will. It's produced by Peter Farley. One of the segments is directed by Griffin Dunn.
Wow, from After Hours.
Yeah, there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Relativity Media. And yeah, Rogue. Oh, Rogue, but it says it's been at Universal City, California, which means it could be Universal Studios. Anyway,
right.
I don't know who distributed it. Very funny. And then to complete our bond, well, not complete our bond, but complete our bond up into the modern era anyway, we had to go back and watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
So why did you have to go back?
Because we never watched it when we watched the original one. We didn't do it in chronological order. We just watched Sean Connery, Roger Moore, and then so on. But we skipped George Lazenby.
Oh, is that George Lazenby one?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Right. So you skipped him.
George
Otherwise,
Lazenby,
you would be on to Daniel Craig.
Yeah. George Lazenby was the youngest person to portray James Bond. He was 29 when he did on Her Majesty's Secret Service. And to be quite frank and honest, a lot of city miles in that face. He did not look 29. He looked like he was in his mid-40s.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to be like a male model or something from Australia. Okay. He was a hand model. For that. Yeah, it just
James Sloan's digging himself again.
Probably hear you. They did a podcast without me. So yeah, it wasn't. It's not a good movie. Telly Savalas plays Blofeld in it.
Yeah. A few people have played Blofeld actually.
Yep. Blofeld in this one felt more like Dr. Evil than I've ever seen before.
Right.
Short of him going like that. It was it wasn't good.
I've not seen that one.
Yeah. I remember it I remember watching it years and years ago and thinking to myself, and watching it again, I'm like, yeah, that is exactly how I should have thought of it as not good. Yeah, I don't know. The plot's all over the place, and it just, I don't know. And so, and he refuses to watch the last 5 minutes.
Why?
Because the Countess Teresa is the only woman he ever loved, other than Vespa Lynn, but we won't talk about that. And she she doesn't make it to the credits, shall we say?
All right, okay. Spoilers
for those of all y'all who have never seen it before. You've never seen a 51-year-old movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And then TV-wise, watched Invasion. So the season finale's on next week. Still nothing's happened.
But... well, yeah, that's. I'm not there with it at all. I mean, I'm episode 7, I think.
Foundation for me is the one that kept me coming back every. The only thing that's keeping me with this one is Like it's not something I'm looking forward to. It's like I need to finish it because I started it and I'm like, okay, let's just get through it. Let's figure out what it happens. And I feel like season 2 will probably open up a little bit more, but right now it's like, okay.
Do you know what's put me off? It's a bit spoilery, but you know, now that you've seen the aliens, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, really?
The aliens remind me of.
It's like a monster movie now to me.
Yeah.
It's not an alien thing. It's a monster movie.
I
don't like that.
The aliens remind me of the octo spiders in
Arrival.
Rama, not Arrival. Oh yeah, the Abbott and Costello. No. Well, yeah, they're kind of like that as well. But yeah, it's slow. I mean, I like slow burn sci-fi, but this is maybe just a bit too slow.
You want to watch Tales from the Loop then? If you want
God, no, I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch it. Jonathan Pryce turned up, and I'm like, God, it felt like it was half an hour, and he's in the first 5 minutes.
No, he's in it quite a bit.
No, but as I'm saying, the first time you see him is the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that 5 minutes? I honestly thought I'd sat through it for 40 minutes. I'm like,
but the dialogue is like that bit in Zootropolis.
Zootopia?
Is it Zootopia?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
the Disney thing with the sloth.
Really?
That's.
Oh yeah. Oh right, yes.
That clip. So the dialogue is like that. So would
Mary
you like?
Do you know why haven't we got a sequel to that?
We're getting a TV show, I think, out it.
I don't want a TV show. I want a sequel.
Yeah, I like that film. It's good.
I love that movie. Do you know the original storyline was Nick was the main character and Judy Hopps was the sidekick?
Oh, really?
And they flipped it around.
Joe, I love the whole the fox with a wee baby, making the lollipops and stuff and selling them. I love that. It's so funny.
He's like
so funny.
Big doe eyes.
Yeah. So
good. Look at him. He's a little champ.
Brilliant.
And that's it. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch. I'm only kidding. We've got one more thing. One more thing, as Steve Jobs from Apple would say. We watched
Is this another of your terrible links?
Yes, we watched a movie from Apple Corps, which was the Beatles Get Back.
We did.
And Wingnut Entertainment, obviously. So this is Peter Jackson, and as our pal Douglas said, Peter Jackson never shy of elongating a story.
No.
Do
you know what? Well,
it's 7.5 hours of television is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is.
To be fair to Peter Jackson, though, right? See if you were a director and you discovered all this footage that had never been shown before. I think the first cut he said was 19 hours. I think.
Yikes.
When he first cut it. And but if you were going through that footage as a Beatles fan, right? Which we both are, it'd be really tricky to actually ditch stuff. Like, oh, that's dead good, that bit. Oh, that's good.
I honestly, from an even if you're not a Beatles fan, I think you'd be hard pressed to look at it and say, all right, okay, you've got 7.5 hours. What are you going to cut? Because the stuff at Twickenham, as much as I don't like it, and there's reasons why I don't like it, and it's fascinating from a musical, historical. This is Paul McCartney writing Get Back. Like the genesis of the song is right there on film, and that is fascinating.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to basics.
Get back.
It's 7.5 hours.
Yep.
A lot of it is just them fanning about.
Yes.
Or repetitively playing the same
Get
song,
Back.
right, and stuff like that. And maybe if you're not a fan, you might go, "Why the hell is this all this stuff in?" But for me, that's the bits I want to see. I want to see them developing the song, and I want to see them, doing, daft voices versions of their songs and stuff like that, which they do. The clenched teeth thing.
Yeah, they
And
do the ventriloquist.
just
version of it,
daft versions and having fun.
Yeah.
Because like I said to you before, the first step, a bit heavy spoiler here if you haven't seen it, but
split up
first episode is the breakup part because George leaves, and they're like,
yeah.
But they just kind of carry on as if nothing's happened.
But I love how. So again,
and then it hits them the second day. They're like, right, what are we going to do?
I think unless you're really into music, or
Not
you're
second day,
you're a Beatles fan, it's too inside baseball for most people. I don't think it's accessible for the general public. Like the general public will be like, this is like that TV show Invasion, like because it's to the casual outsider, it feels a bit like watching paint dry because nothing happens. Now, what actually happens is they come away with some classic songs that we all know and love.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of faffing around and can I have another bit of toast, please, and all that kind of stuff. Which I love.
You and I know is what it's all about when you're in a band and stuff. You're just fanning about and trying to pin things down.
Now we had we had two hot takes on the anthology. I'll let you say your take, but my take was I found the first
not anthology.
Oh, sorry, not the anthology. Sorry, the 3-part and the 3-part anthology of Get Back, but that's where I was going with. Sorry, it is not anthology; it's Get Back. The first episode for me was boring, and the reason why it was boring for me is because I was a drummer, and there is nothing more boring than musicians learning the chords for a brand new song. Because you have nothing to do. There's nothing you can do. You are just a passenger on this journey. You're just sitting in on the drum throne like that. You can't even touch the kit because as soon as you touch the kit, do you want to keep it down a bit? Like you know it's going to start an argument. So I just sat there and it all flooded back to me. All the times where I was told,
really?
What the
That's funny.
And hey, can't you play this and all that kind of stuff, like all of it, and it just annoyed it from a drum person. And if there's drummers out there, you know exactly what I'm saying. From a drummer's point of view, who's not a musician and doesn't play an instrument, it is tedious. It is not good. And that's where I was coming from. And I was on WhatsApp and going, oh, this is really boring, and everybody else is like, we love this. This is the best thing ever. But
it's funny because
all of you guys play musical instruments and I play the drums.
Hi, boom. But it's funny because see the first kind of episode, which I think spans a few days at Twickenham.
I think it's like the first 5 days or something. It's like the majority of the week anyway.
But you'd think that Ringo would be the one that didn't speak much, considering. But Lennon is
Lennon's very quiet. Yeah.
He's not present at all, and apparently, you've seen it all now.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
I think in episode 3, there's a moment where they're all kind of talking and discussing stuff, and Lennon's like hunched over. You remember that scene?
Yeah.
Where Yoko's kind of rubbing his back and he's just hunched over. But apparently, he was into heroin at that point.
Oh, really?
He was a heroin addict at that point.
Wow.
So it looked as if he was like having a moment.
Whatever it is you have.
So it's quite dark. The first episode, definitely, and it spans like maybe 4 or 5 days or something. 3 or 4 days.
And the first one, George asks. No, sorry, George doesn't do that. He starts playing a riff, and Chairman John says, "Do you mind not doing that right now?" And George goes, "Oh, right, okay." And then he's silent for the rest of the rehearsal, and he goes, and then John says, "Sorry, not Chairman John, Chairman Paul. Sorry, that's what I meant. Sorry,
Paul's
Paul
very
McCartney,
present,
because
isn't he?
Paul McCartney's
Mm.
like, but even so, he's like, you should have come up with anyway. So Paul's like, "Do you mind not doing that?" And at the end of the song, they all break for lunch, and George goes, "I'm just going to leave the band now."
Yeah.
And that's on tape as well, which is another fascinating thing. Where it's because
Which wasn't in the
Ringo left
original
during,
movie, by the way. Let It Be.
yeah,
Wasn't in the original.
Ringo left the band during the White Album, I think, and went on holiday.
Yeah.
Which is where Octopus's Garden comes from.
Mm.
He spent the couple of weeks on Peter Sellers' yacht.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was George leaving the band. So I mean, it wasn't the first time a Beatle left the band, but it was kind of George Harrison. So
Yeah, and George is constantly trying to kind of come up with ideas, and he's talking with Paul a lot, and John's not. I don't know if it's the way it's been edited, but it seems to be John and Paul that are doing. Sorry, John and
George,
Paul
and George,
and George
yeah.
are doing a lot of riffing and jamming and stuff with Ringo.
Yeah,
and communicating.
But again, that changes though in the end
The
of
second
part
episode.
two.
Uh-huh.
Because the end of part
Yes.
two,
Yes.
I think at that point Linda has flown in from America, or she's now more present than before, and he starts arriving later. And by the time he arrives, the three of them, because at one point they're jamming, maybe it's part three, but Ringo's playing Octopus's Garden on the piano, George is accompanying on the guitar, and John's on the drums.
Yeah.
And
they're all swapping.
Yeah, they're all swapping
completely.
instruments, and that bit was fascinating for me. That whole, we do anything we can to get this song to the finish line, and it didn't matter.
Right.
And it didn't matter whether it was like you're the bass player. It's like no, you're whatever we need at that.
Yeah, because I think it's Long and Winding Road. Paul's playing piano and John's playing bass.
Yeah, but they've got that 6-string Fender bass.
That's right. It is. That's an odd looking bass.
Yeah,
it's because the strings are quite close together as well.
Yes, but again, I think it's like it's a bass. Sorry, it's a guitar that's made for. Sorry, it's a bass guitar made for guitarists.
Yes,
this makes any sense.
That'd be why it's
got
because when you see
slightly thicker strings, but they're not as thick as bass strings.
Yeah, because when you see like a 6-string proper bass guitar these days, it's like clank of wood. It's like proper big. Yeah, you're right. And then after episode 1, obviously George has left, and nothing really, there's no reaction really. There's no reaction, but they have a meeting with him.
Yeah,
and then it doesn't go well, and then it goes into episode 2.
Yeah,
and then you get Ringo and Paul arriving in the studio in Twickenham, and Paul looks as if he's close to tears.
Yeah. There's a few times during that where I felt Paul knew this was the end of the Beatles, and he didn't want it to be the end of the Beatles.
Yeah,
because he liked the whole arrangement of the 4 guys. Because they were busy from when was the Beatles? When did He Hates the Beatles come out? It was like 2061, 62. They were in the studio or touring from that point on.
They were only sort of the Beatles, famous Beatles, for 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
They were together in Hamburg before that.
Yeah, because they were the Quarrymen as well, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, because they were in a band since like 1957. Because Paul was like 15 or something.
They wrote songs together in the 50s and stuff. Yeah.
Because One After 909 is an early one as well, I think.
Do you know what I found fascinating as well? Right, George Harrison in that documentary is 25 or 26.
Yeah. They're
None of them
all
are 30.
under
Yeah.
30. Now,
They're all
just
29 or younger.
they're all under 30. They're all basically, as we would call them, kids. Because
Well,
we're
yeah. They're
kicking
still
on now.
men.
Yeah, but they're in their they're in their mid to late 20s, and they've had so many hits before this point, and they're about to release 2 albums and get more hits out of them. In fact, there's songs that they release that they don't put on an album; they just release it, like the Ballad of John and Yoko. That gets released as a single.
Well, that's right. A lot of the solo songs that became solo songs
Road to
for
Marrakesh.
George, Paul,
It becomes
and
Jealous Guy.
Yeah. So they're doing kind of solo stuff. They're like giving their songs up as Beatles songs, but end up being solo songs.
It was
crazy.
There's sorry to people who are not attuned to this, but there's a special edition of Clutching at Straws by Marillion, and the second CD of it is all the stuff they were working on for the next album, and it's all the music that would appear on Season's End, but it's all Fish lyrics from Vigil in a Wilderness of Mirrors album. So it's this smash up of 2, basically, like the band's next album and Fish's next solo album, the lyrics of it, and it's what could have been kind of thing. It's like that kind of stuff fascinates me because we were in a band and we would have songs that we wouldn't play for years, and it's like, oh, we need an extra song. It's like, well, what about this? And we would like take something that we had in the back pocket, and then we kick it about together in the band. Maybe your Cammy had come to had written it originally. Then we kick it around the band. You eventually get like
it becomes something else.
It becomes something else, yeah. And then you use that as the basis of the next one that you're going to not put out, but we would play live. And it was kind of fascinating the fact that they would just do that. They would just like, we've written all these songs, thrown them away, and then we'll just bring it in because we need another song for this album. We need to get to 35 minutes.
Well, at that moment, they thought it was going to be the next Beatles song, but they didn't realise. Although George does mention the fact he wants to do a solo record, because there's so many songs just now. Just getting back to the age thing. Do you know what age Billy Preston was? The keyboard player that they brought on.
I don't know if he was 25 or not. He was really young.
I think he was 23.
Was he?
He
was the backing keyboardist for Little Richard.
Yeah,
that's how they met.
So back in Hamburg, he must have been about 14 when he was playing keyboards.
Yeah, must have been.
Those guys. Just trying to see if that's right. Born in 1946.
There you go. So they've been 22, 25. He would have been 46. No, 23. He would have been 23 because it was 69.
There you go then.
Whoa.
So it must have been like in his early teens.
Must have been, yeah.
In Hamburg.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Bonkers. Crazy.
That's crazy. And he's so good.
I know.
And he injects a total energy into them, into the band when he arrives.
Yeah.
And all that, hey Billy, and all that, and and I've heard them talking about that before.
Mm-hmm.
How it's like when you've had an argument or something, but a guest arrives and it's like all patched up for a while.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of showing face for the person that's there.
But I think
Billy Preston kind of was the bandage there for a wee while.
Yeah, I mean, I think when they're doing wearing their coats, and I think at that point they kind of remembered they were friends, like mates. Didn't last long, obviously, but because the Beatles were gone within the year, but still.
Well, That's the funny thing. That's what I was saying to you. Episode 1, Twickenham, a few days, and then George leaves, and then 2 and 3, episodes 2 and 3. Episode 2 is 3 hours long, isn't it?
No, they're all 2.5 hours.
No.
1 moment, please. Pretty sure they're all 3.5 hours.
Episode 2 is almost 3 hours. I think the other 2 are 2.5. Anyway.
Eyes in disguise.
What was I going to say there?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's 157 minutes for what days 1 to 7. 8 to 16 is 174 minutes. That's almost 3 hours. That's 6 minutes shy of 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, so episodes 2 and 3 begin to be joyous.
Yeah.
George is back. They start playing and they start fooling around. Billy Preston arrives.
Yeah.
So it gets even more joyous.
I think as well.
It doesn't look like a band that's going to break up,
But I think as well as at some point, Glenn's the producer.
Yep.
And I think they realised that, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think they realised that they've backed the wrong horse with this guy, because George Martin starts to take a much more active interest in the recording process towards the end of the.
Did you notice
event?
Did you notice as well? John Lennon introduces George Martin as their A&R man.
Yes, yeah.
That odd.
Bit weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Very, very weird.
I guess he's always been their cheerleader. He's always been the cheerleader of the Beatles. In fact, he was later on in life, he was always, saying they were the musical geniuses, and they would always turn around and say, "No, it was always George. George always had the best ideas." But he always put them out there and said they were the best. So maybe as far as you want an A&R guy that's gonna fight in your corner. So maybe he's the only one that did.
Well, sonically, he had the best ideas, but the songs were the songs,
Yeah. I love the bit. There's a. I don't know. We're going all over the story here, but there's a bit in it where George has bought an 8-track recorder.
Yes.
And it gets unloaded in Twickenham.
And
then when he leaves the band, it gets pushed back on.
But they bring it into the studio.
Oh yeah, they bring it. Because their mate was supposed to build this thing, and they get there. George gets there, and he's like, "What the hell is that?" And it's like, just this constant. Obviously, there's some grounding issues with some of the equipment, and it's just got this low ground hum all through it.
They've got that guy Magic Alex that's building stuff.
Yeah, that's the guy.
The double-sided guitar thing.
Yeah,
and they all have a laugh at that. Do you know what else? The myths that have been popped as well about Yoko Ono breaking up with Beatles.
Oh yeah. She was hardly saying boo to a goose, and also they were jamming at one
totally
point
supportive.
As well.
And Paul's totally supportive of her, and saying that's she's a nice girl and all that, and blah blah blah.
I think as well as you could probably there's a few things where you could pull out. Like if you wanted to say, oh, they were always at each other's throats. Like there's a newspaper thing, and they're going like, I've never hit George in my life.
Yeah, then they act out the kind of.
And then they act out the kind of fisticuffs thing. But I think there's a few things like that whole. Do you want to shut up for a minute? Like that can be perceived as being snappy. But that's a comment that I certainly have heard a number of times in the band. I've never gone like that, and I've never like it's just like oh. It's like being told off by the teacher. It's like, oh.
No, not really. It's also, oh God, what is it?
But the thing is, you're trying to be creative, and you get some idiot on the drums doing like that, and it's just hold on a minute. It's like it's not a I hate you. It's
funny.
It's just a quick no. If I don't get this, we're gonna lose it forever thing. And you go,
okay.
And you go. Okay.
It's funny because I was watching saying to you last night, I was watching that Achtung Baby documentary,
Yeah,
30th year anniversary, and
crazy.
Bono was saying about little things start to bug you when you've been together for that a long
Yeah.
time. And one of the things Edge does is he tunes up at full volume on an amp. So he's like, ding, 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 and everybody's like, fucking hell. Keep that to yourself type thing, Excuse my
There's
language.
pedals for that. You just plug the pedal in, complete silence.
The other thing that kind of myths that have been popped as well. See the Alan Klein thing, right?
Oh yeah. The Beatles manager that
Lennon wanted. He wanted him. He was like a Rolling Stones manager.
Yeah.
And that Glenn Johns guy says, "Have you met him?" And he's like, "Oh, he's a horrible guy.
I like him.
He butts in mid conversation. You're telling him something, he'll just kind of, and." He doesn't look at you when he's talking to you and stuff like that, and things like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't trust him. It's funny how he said that.
Yeah.
As well. And no, there's something else I was going to say about the myths. I think just the fact they got on as well. During that period. And then, of course, the rooftop gig is just.
Well, we'll get to that in just a second there, but just in praise of their professionalism as well. For the most part, they were in by 10. They would leave at 6, and they would work on stuff. Now, everyone needs a stress relief at work, and that's what they did. They were mucking about and doing silly songs and all that kind of stuff. But they were working on the arrangements. They were putting the time in, and just the sheer amount of professionalism in the Beatles organization was just astounding to me. I like that for me was the most interesting part of it all, was the fact that they were workers.
Yeah, and do you know what else as well? See if Lennon or Paul McCartney or whoever just starts playing a song, they'll just join in. They'll just know it. They just can play it.
Yep.
It's just,
I know,
bonkers.
We're going real long with this one. Do you want to talk about the third part, which was quite frankly joyous? I do want to ask one question.
Can I just say one? Can I just say one thing though? Talking about how many the songs they played. They played over 400 songs over that Get Back.
That's crazy.
Documentary.
And 300 of them was Get Back.
They're not all they're not all full songs, but they play the show.
Yeah, because it comes up and says what ones they're playing, and they were playing Buddy Holly and Carl Perkins and a whole bunch of other guys. Just to know all of these things is just, but again, that's the whole thing. Is like they're musical historians. They knew how to play their instruments, and that's how you become good at your art, is you practice like mad.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, the rooftop gig. First question I have to ask: how old was the policeman? Because he looked like he was 4.
He did, yeah.
And he kept tuning his wooden top hat, and it really annoyed me. I thought it was really unprofessional.
I know.
Talking about professionalism, but anyway, every single time somebody come and said, "Oh, I think it's a bloody noise. Oh, I think it's ridiculous," I wanted to punch my television set.
I love the fact they kept those bits in, though.
It's funny. Like folk complaining.
Yeah, I know.
It's a free concert by the Beatles, which were arguably the biggest band in the world at the time, and you're getting to hear it for free at 4:00 in the afternoon. Knock off an hour early.
There's always somebody going to moan, isn't there?
I know. Well, I don't know why I had to do it up here. I think it's ridiculous.
Causing a bloody traffic jam, isn't it?
And look at it. It's just, it's ridiculous. I reckon it will just encourage other bands to do it, like some Irish mob from Dublin.
Yeah. It's funny as well because, they literally play, half an hour or something.
Yeah, it's not long. Well, they actually start to repeat songs.
But that's all the Beatles ever played. You know how, modern gigs are an hour and a half long?
Yeah.
The Beatles only ever played 30, 35 minutes. That was their
Really?
concert. That was it. Yes.
My God.
Yeah, that was it.
But
They never
they
played like
played
big long.
they played the two songs at the start, at the end.
Yeah, it was the same. I suppose they had to do a couple of different takes.
Yeah, and
Um,
also there was a couple of them as well. I think the one after 909. That's the one that appears in the album. So the
yeah,
the rooftop gig, that
yeah,
performance is so good. It appeared in the album.
yeah. And we do see a
It's
few sort of.
unbelievable.
That was a 42-minute set. On the top of the. A
Right.
typical live Beatles set was 35 minutes long. That was it.
Good grief.
When you went to see the Beatles live.
Which subsequently is the length of the Beatles' Let It Be album, 35 minutes.
Aye, but then their songs are short. I suppose they could, fit in
Yeah.
quite a number of songs. But that was it.
Yeah, they're
35
just
minutes,
launching to
typical.
help,
Yeah.
and they do like a ska version of Help or something.
Aye,
It wouldn't
aye,
be like
aye.
it wouldn't be the traditional arrangement of Help.
Yeah.
I think because he did was that a Waltz version of Twist and Shout? It was
Oh,
something
they
there. I
did.
can't remember what it was, but
Aye,
yeah,
they
they did
did.
like tons of these different
Yeah,
versions
yeah, yeah.
of songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to get that condensed into like cut out all the cruft and just have just them playing instruments and just all the wee bits and pieces of the songs. That would be
Yeah.
nice. Make that happen, Mr. Jackson.
There's so much
Yeah.
you could do with it. But yeah, overall, and I know you were doubtful at the beginning, but it did come.
But hopefully my explanation understands where I was coming from.
I think
Um,
I totally understand. That,
mm,
and I totally understand anybody. Is they're maybe not a Beatles fan, or they're
yeah,
and they go, "What the hell is this?"
yeah,
Why are they just showing all the you know all the workings
yeah.
type thing instead
I-
of
And also, if you don't want to watch that, skip part 1 and 2. Just go to 3 and watch the concert.
yeah, you could do, I suppose.
Could do that
Yeah.
if you don't want to do that.
Mhm.
I know
Hmm.
I know on
Episode 3 is
future.
not just it's not just the concert. Though. Episode 3 is more stuff there, but
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
um,
it's a fantastic fantastic thing. It's,
yeah.
it's
And also, don't forget, there's also Paul McCartney. I don't know if you've got it on Apple Plus now, or not Apple Plus, Disney Plus. No, what was Apple Plus? No, it was Disney Plus.
no, it was Disney.
Um,
I've got it. Aye, I've
Paul
got that.
McCartney talking to Rick Rubin
Yeah.
about all his big songs, but he touches on a lot of obviously
Yeah.
Beatles classics.
Yeah, we've
That
got
that to me was that was so good. I don't know. It just
that.
I would love to like if I don't know if he does a masterclass. There's that website that comes up and says do a
Yeah, I
masterclass.
do.
Um, it would be great to see if he did one on songwriting because that
Yeah.
I would love to. I would actually
Well,
buy that.
Ringo does one.
Oh, does he?
Yep, it's getting advertised just now over here.
I might watch
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I like Ringo.
He's
No,
left-handed drummer, but in fact, there's a great thing where he's talking to Dave Stewart from Eurythmics.
He doesn't
and
play
he's
the kit left-handed though.
You're
Phil
right, but
Collins does.
you're right, but it's because he's left-handed the way he does the fills. That's why he sounds so unique.
Okay. Oh, because his
and
lead hand is his right
Aye.
hand, whereas
So
my
he
lead hand would be
basically,
my left hand.
yeah. So basically, he's like, I'm not doing anything. Everybody thinks I'm a genius, but it's just because I'm left-handed playing a right-handed kit.
Yeah.
So he's got that kind of
He's drumby-dexterous.
Yes, but he's got that kind of
Like a ding.
is it on the upbeat? He's got a kind of misses it.
Okay.
He misses something. So
Okay.
that's why it gives him his Ringo style.
Yeah. I
But
tell
it's
you
so
something,
him. You can, I mean, you can recognise him playing.
yeah,
There's not many drummers you can say that about. You know,
Max Weinberg.
Larry Mullen, Sloan Kelly. Apart from that,
Max Weinberg, definitely Max.
Not Malcolm Treese.
Manu
Remember
Cash.
stuff.
Oh yeah, Martin Jokes. Definitely Martin Jokes.
Yeah. Manny Cash. Yeah.
Ian Mosley.
Ginger Baker.
Ginger
But then
Baker.
he's proper
He's in a
jazz
that's
rock type
up there
thing.
somewhere. Charlie Watts with his thing that he does.
Nah.
I was never a big fan, to be honest. Sorry, Charlie.
Nah.
Wherever you are.
I know.
Although
Charlie Watts, unfortunately, was a proper jazz drummer that
we're missing one.
He never ever wanted to be, Phil Collins, of course.
No. Well, yeah, Phil Collins and Bonzo.
Oh, of course, Bonzo, crikey. Bloody hell. Can't miss him.
No.
His son is very good
Keith Moon as well.
Keith Moon, he's mad though.
He's insane, yeah.
Yeah.
But his won't get fooled again. Oh.
Yeah.
So good.
Keith Moon, fantastic.
There's a guy, Rick Beto. He does a YouTube channel, and he goes. Is that him?
About music?
Yeah.
Does he get white hair?
Yes.
I watch him all the time. He's brilliant.
Yeah. He does like a top 20 drum fills, top 20 drum patterns.
He's
and all that
great.
kind of stuff.
I follow him. Yeah, he's great.
It was getting to the point at the end. Oh, drum intros. That's what it was. Drum intros. It was getting towards the end, and he goes, and here's the notable mentions. And I went, if When the Levee Breaks is not number one, I am never watching this guy again. And then he goes, and number one, of course, is When the Levee Breaks.
He does a full thing about. He does a full thing about the Levee Breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick
Beato.
Rick Beato, yeah. Yeah, he does a full thing about the sound.
Oh, he's from Rochester.
When they recorded at that kind of manor place that the Genesis recorded the Lamb. And it's in the stairwell.
Yes. Yeah, that's because you get that natural reverb.
But that's what everybody thought. But it's not. There's still a
reverb on there as well,
which he talks about.
Here's one for you. And sorry, we're really late, and we're also talking about drums as well. Did you know? So the gated reverb that appears in Intruder, do, and also Alison, It's Over by the Girlfriends, at my insistence. Anyway, and also Phil Collins for his entire career. That was actually, it was the sound engineer. Phil Collins arguably perfected it. But it was the sound. Yes. Was it Pagnum? He suggested it on We're Only Making Plans for Nigel by XTC. That's the first use of gated reverb on the snare.
Yeah, it's Hugh Pagnum.
Okay.
He produced the Peter Gabriel album, Gabriel 3, and then he used it on Phil Collins' solo record, and then Genesis, and then it became the kind of 80s drum sound.
Cool.
Wow. We went deep.
Not know that. We went deep.
We went deep, baby.
Oh, according to this, it was Steve Lillywhite.
What?
Not Hugh Padgham. Oh no, wait.
Hugh
Padgham was the engineer. Right. Sorry, I do apologize. Steve Lillywhite was the producer. Hugh Padgham was the engineer. So yeah, it must have been.
So he carried that on to his subsequent as a producer. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, if you got this far, good on you.
Well done.
You deserve a badge, or how about a subscription? That'd be great. If you do the old subscribe button, notification bell, you get time reminders when we put a new video up, which of course will be later on this week as well, because we do our Hawkeye the New reaction video. And if you got this far and you like what you see, hit the old like button, share. Social media would be great. It really does help the channel out, and we do appreciate that. But yeah, that's all we have for this week. We have gone real long. This is the longest show we've done in a long time. Don't expect this every week, kids. It's normally an hour.
Come on.
But we will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Cheers.